episode is brought by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you!
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Red Raptor Right. Okay, yes, the trailer for Prehistoric Planet 2 has been out for a few days now. Don't worry, I saw it when it dropped, but wanted to reserve some thoughts for a proper video. If you've been with my channel for a while, then you already know my thoughts on Season 1.
I like it.
It was good, I enjoyed it, gave it an A- accuracy ranking, but overhyped and overrated, yada yada, you heard it before. Season 2 though seems to have everything I enjoyed, but even better. More of the greatness that's made the original an immediate standout classic, but with less of the pitfalls that kept me from going all out fanboy. I'm sure the paleo community will go crazy for this upon release on May 22nd. So what has me so excited? Why do I think this will be even better than the first? What new stuff is coming our way? Let's dig this up. Firstly, we had a good variety of animals in Season 1. Many dinosaurs, mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, ammonoids, turtles, and lots of pterosaurs. Despite this variety, there were some very noticeable gaps with some lineages getting little to no representation. I've seen fans mention the lack of mammals, crocodiliforms, and the famous dome-headed pachycephalosaurids. Maybe ceratopsians and abelisaurids could have seen more love too. All they had was one cave scene and a mating dance. One of those pterosaur segments could have been swapped out to give these groups more love. But this is where Season 2 steps in, expanding the roster even further to include members from all of these groups. The trailer showed us both the North American Pachycephalosaurus and the Central Asian Prenocephalae. For some reason, the creators chose to base their models off of the subadult sandy specimen rather than more mature skulls that have further reabsorbed spikes. Perhaps this will play into the narrative, or maybe this is just an edgy design choice. Who knows? Recent images from Apple TV also show off several new additions. Two Madagascan critters we will see scurrying around are the strange-looking herbivorous crocodiliform Cymosuchus and the mammal Adelatherium that superficially resembles a badger. Both are very welcome.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
And to address the lack of abelisaurids, we're getting the Indian Rajasaurus and Madagascan Majungasaurus. And wouldn't you know it, Apple actually made Majungasaurus look like Majungasaurus?
Genius.
What, are you looking for a raise? Get out.
Who knows, Carnotaurus can make a return too, and hopefully get some clapped cheeks this time around. Triceratops 2 is seeing more screen time with some intraspecific combat going on. There are many more additions coming too, but this isn't a whole reveal video. Best in Slot already did that, showing all the confirmed species. But again, we're getting lots of variety this time around. This isn't meant to be shots fired at the first season, but now that the producers have all of those creatures already modeled and animated, they can simply recycle them for some of the scenes, saving time that can be devoted to making new ones. I know I've mentioned in the past that it'd be nice to see a new time period be explored like the Pleistocene, but because we're going back to the Maastrichtian of the late Cretaceous, a Season 2 was probably much easier and faster to make while expanding upon the original. So, you know what? I can cope with this. I'll cope. The first Prehistoric Planet provided audiences with some highly memorable set pieces. The opening alone with the swimming Tyrannosaurus is immediately iconic, and you know how the internet just went crazy for the Carno dance. Poor guy, he tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Just being honest here, but as fun as some segments were in the past, a lot of them ended up feeling repetitive. I mean, for real, how many stories were about creatures trying to pipe, or succeeding at said piping? That's just a rhetorical question. I'm not bored enough to count through every single 6. If I'm counting right, there are 6 segments about mating, attracting mates, or competing for mates. And when it's not about that, there's a decent chance you're witnessing a child being murdered.
Quick question. What the heck, dude?
It was those far more imaginative sequences that really did it for me. Made me feel the magic and wonder and fun of Prehistoric Planet. Something creative like the nest-robbing ornithomimus. Even the hunting was great. Yes, we see hunting in every documentary, but there was usually some added dimension to bring much needed originality. Well, it seems so far that we are getting more variety. Again, those two massive triceratops duking it out with the horns that would make Yoshi's trike proud. We're getting some herbivore on herbivore action as Tarkia and Prenocephalae compete, I presume. Pectinodon and Velociraptor see some child rearing, actually raising their children rather than sticking them with the tablet. The Hatseg Island Rhabdodontid Zelmoxes travels on a raft adventure. Maybe he'll meet Pod along the way. And of course, we see those Cretaceous titans, Tyrannosaurus and Quetzalcoatlus, squaring off over a carcass. I get that it's difficult to write stories that feel new and fresh. There's only so much you can do with animals after all. Yes, there are a lot of behaviors to explore, but really, how much hasn't been done already? We've gone through 20-something years of documentaries at this point. The trick is to find new and creative ways to tell these stories. Now, I'm not expecting the next Dark Knight, but I appreciate the growing variety. Will there be more mating and child murder? Probably, but hopefully it's not as dominant. The last and shortest aspect I'm looking forward to are the new designs. Prehistoric Planet already blessed us with many of the best dinosaur interpretations ever brought to screen. Now we get to keep those absolute game changers, plus new and updated designs. One good example is that stunning Isosaurus. Sauropods typically get bland coloration, often resembling large herbivores today, like elephants. Not here though. The Maastrichtian Titanosaur is given a remarkable red and cream colored patterning as it treks along the Indian subcontinent, likely having to deal with those Rajasaurus I mentioned earlier. But even a returning member of the cast, Hatzegopteryx, has gotten a facelift with splashes of color being added to their faces.
Beautiful.
I'm not sure if these changes are supposed to have any in-universe meaning, or if they exist solely to meet new design choices. The fans can debate that in the comments. And one notable inaccuracy has been addressed. A new study on Carnotaurus scales dropped late into Season 1's production, meaning that the animators didn't have time to update their model. For these upcoming episodes, they took that new information, then applied it to their new Abelisaurids, showing more randomly distributed feature scales rather than in organized rows. So good on Apple for making improvements rather than stubbornly sticking to their guns. Not only will this increase the enjoyment of nerds on the internet, but help to better inform general audiences on what dinosaurs really looked like. Even with all the compliments I can shower the show with, I'm still not a fan of the episode structure. Rather than every episode focusing on one story or one setting, we jump around from place to place, following different subjects. Yes, I know that it's taking after the Planet Earth documentaries as David Attenborough guides us through the journeys of several subjects from similar biomes, each getting their own segments. Cool, I understand it, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. I would rather get invested into a single setting with the same subjects than jump back and forth. More depth than width. Or for some of the formations we know less about, maybe we can have a vignette style to cover some of the inhabitants we do know of, and then for those more well-known places like the Namek or Hill Creek, they can have full-length episodes to themselves, like what we got with Dinosaur Revolution. Boom, best of both worlds. But unfortunately, there's no reason to believe these segmented episodes won't still be the case going forward. Well, those are my thoughts on Prehistoric Planet 2. It's not the second coming of Christ, well, third coming if you count Season 1 according to some fans, but I'm looking forward to this one. It seems like we're in a new era of dino docs, and this series is providing a great example of how to portray these magnificent animals. And hopefully, it can get that bad taste out of my mouth from the Stephen Fry documentary. With many new creatures, more story variety, and even better designs, on top of what was already a great docuseries, there's no doubt that we're in for a real treat with Season 2. This is gonna be awesome, I hope. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and check out my social media. See you next time.